Hey everybody, Bernie Gallerani bringing you another episode of Success is Not Convenient. It's always a fun topic to have where people will say, well, why am I not more successful? God's success is hard, and it is. I'm going to bring you 10 topics today for you to think about, see how they apply to you, see where you can make some changes in your life, and see if you can grow through who you are to who you need to be in order to have the success that you and your family dream of, right? Here's the good part. Number one, recognize that you have a conditioning belief that actually didn't come from you. It actually came most likely from your parents and or early influences in your life. Yes, I'm not saying that success is not your fault, because success, depending on what age you are, is something everybody can accomplish, whatever success means to you. But it doesn't mean that you don't have to struggle through the changes that are necessary in order to. See, those beliefs that you have come up with came from your childhood, which actually shapes the responses in which you have that create your ultimate destiny. And what we're saying here is that you believe one thing because of your influences as a young person, probably 6, 8, 9 years old, in that range is where most of all of your values showed up. If you come from a family background where protection and security and low risk was a part of your environment, then that typically is how you'll actually turn out. Now, I'm not pointing the finger at your influences, the people who raised you. What I'm saying to you is there are a lot of people who come from an environment that shapes how they think. Our job, I think, is changing how we think. Number one is you have to recognize that you have a conditioning process that has happened at an early age. And that usually comes from like, hey, go out and get a high education. Everybody has an education. Go out there and work for a great company, get benefits. Benefits are really great. You want to have benefits and you want to have this. And, someday, you work for a company for X amount of time and they're going to take care of you and you save a little bit of money. And that is, or you don't save money, depending what your environment is, right? I mean, there's a lot of poverty, people who, live a certain way where they don't have a lot of money in retirement. Most people who are raised with some levels of lack of money in their life probably lack on planning. And so that then is carried on through the next stages of your life. Like what you experience is what you're going to experience. What you had as a young person is typically what most people will have as an adult. But the good news is that is not how it has to be. You can recognize right now that you have a conditioning issue that can be solved to a prosperity life. And so what we're going to talk a little bit about, number one here, is about recognizing your conditioning is that it's not fully your fault, but it is your fault if you don't ultimately achieve it. There is a lot of opportunity out there for people to have a high level success, but you have to do all of the work. All of the work, meaning how do I get out? How do I get out of this, right? How do I take from where I was raised the conditions in which I learned my habits and then maneuver that into something positive for my life, educating myself. I'm not saying you have to go to college to educate yourself. You don't have to go to college to educate. You can self-educate. I can promise you this. You're going to learn more by reading books and having an influence in your life that puts you beyond other people, that you'll have so much education. College is not the cure-all to success. I don't have an issue with people going to college. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't have a higher education and I have a high school diploma. But I can tell you that being successful has nothing to do with your level of college. It only has to do with your level of effort and determination to grow. So if you want to have that great abundance life, that's really what you have to do. Number two, questioning your limiting beliefs. What I'm asking you here too is you should do a deep reflection on where you think you learned some of the things that you've learned. If I look back at my childhood, I adapted a very strong work ethic from both of my parents. Both of my parents had very strong work ethics, and I developed a very strong work ethic based on what I learned from my parents. Probably, more committed than most when it comes to the work that I do. However, neither one of my parents had any money. And they weren't by any means wealthy, barely survived, probably had a hard time putting food on the table regularly on both sides of the equations. Even though they were very good at working, doesn't mean they were really good at working money management. And so what I had to learn was that is not what I want in my life. So here's the question. Can you take some of the things that you learned that are a positive from your family environment and write all those things down? What did I learn? And what part of these qualities do I want to continue to keep working in my life? And then what about the family dynamic that I learned at an early age that I don't want to have anything to do with? Right? For me, it was the money management side that I learned from both of my parents, or the lack of money management, that I said, I don't want my life to be like this. I don't want to have poverty, lack of dollars to pay my monthly bills. I want to have a retirement portfolio. I want to be able to have businesses that support me in the later years of life. And so then changing that and working towards something in that area that is dynamic for you and your family. So just journal. Say, man, you know what? These are the things that I love. These are the things that I think I have as values. These are the things that I want to continue to carry on through my life. And then these are the things that I don't want to carry on through my life. These are the things that I actually want to change within my life. These are the things that, hey, listen, thank you, mom and dad, or thank you, grandparents, whoever raised you, for some of these values. But then let's throw away the things that we really don't, and then reprogram our brain. We can program our brain to think in any way we want. We can reprogram it to think any way we want. If you want to have massive poverty, you just have to think that way. If you want to have massive success, you just have to think that way. And it can't happen. Is it hard? Yes. Is it going to be difficult? Absolutely. But success is not convenient. To have success is going to take a lot of work. If you just kind of float around, right, and just go, well, that's just the way I am. How many of us sit there and go, well, that's just who I am. That's just who I am. That's just how I behave. Hey, listen, this. I don't care if you don't like it or not. This is who I am. No, that's who you're being. It's not who you are. You are anybody you want to be. You're just being somebody right now that's not moving yourself forward and have a very prosperous life. Number 3, rewire your thoughts. Rewire your thoughts. So when you ask yourself what you want to keep, and then you go back and to say what I don't want, rewire what you do want. So what is it after something that you learned here? What is it that you really want out of your life? Write that down and then come up with a solution to actually have it. Don't just take it for granted. Like, okay, I want this, and then that's it. Write out a plan of action. There isn't, I don't think, anything that we can do as business owners and as professionals that doesn't come with some level of planning. You have to plan out everything. Let me give you an example. If you want to lose weight, right? Dieting is a big thing, right? So if you want to lose weight, you don't just say, okay, well, I want to lose weight. Boy, it would really be great to be thin. It'd really be great to be in shape. Boy, I'm telling you, no, you have to write it out and say, hey, listen, this is what I'm allowed to eat. This is what I'm not allowed to eat. This is how often I'm allowed to eat. This is how many calories I have to take in. There's a planning process in place, right? If you say things like, hey, I would love to, have $1 million in my retirement or $5 million in my retirement, you have to actually calculate how much do I need to save based on compounding interest. What will this ultimately be in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? It's called planning. You don't just say, hey, listen, I want to have $10 million in my bank account, or I want to have $5 million in my bank account, and then don't plan the process. Everything is a planned process. I'll never forget my mentor saying, hey, Bernie, can you retire? This was a while back, years and years ago. Can you retire right now? Of course not. Okay, well, someday you're going to want to retire. Are you planning for that? No, I haven't done that. Well, let's do that right now. And so we did a 5-year plan, and then that 5-year plan had a certain dollar amount. And then when we were done with that 5-year plan, Could I have retired? Sure. But I'm not at the level that I probably wanted to. So let's do another 5-year plan. Let's do another 5-year plan. Let's do another 5-year plan. And then pretty soon what happens is you realize in time that all that stuff compounds. And then, you look yourself in the mirror and go, wow, I actually can retire. And what a great feeling that is. Or, gosh, I actually dropped all that weight that I wanted to. I dropped the 10 pounds, the 15, the 20, the 30, whatever it might be. It's not going to be easy to do any of it because it's not what you do. However, you do have to put a process together. So you have to rewire your thought process in this particular equation. You have to rewire it, and you typically have to plan it. Number 4, take a calculated risk. Take a calculated risk. Anything you do different is going to be outside the box of what you're comfortable with. And if you're looking for a level of success, you absolutely have to understand that there is going to be a risk associated with this. There's no way out of it. And it's going to be uncomfortable. But if you, as we said before, rewire your thoughts and put it down on paper, understand that you don't have to take a massive risk and shouldn't if risk is not normally something you do. But you can't grow without risk. You can't grow without doing something uncomfortable. You can't grow without change. So what I'm going to suggest to all of us is we have to take some level of risk. Start small. You don't have to start with like, hey, listen, tomorrow I want to be a millionaire. I'm not saying you shouldn't say tomorrow I want to be a millionaire, and you probably could do it if you wanted to. But do something small and watch the baby steps take over into big, giant steps. And so do something small. Ask yourself this question. God, what if I decided that what would I have to do in order to lose 10 pounds? Just 10 pounds. Or what would I have to do in order to lose 5 pounds? Well, I just probably have to eat less. Probably have to exercise a little bit more. Just watch that little 5 pounds come off. Hey, listen, what happens if maybe I didn't go out as much as I normally do and spend as much money out? Maybe I just take that money, an extra $50, $100, $200, and I do that every month and I put it in a bank account. Watch that grow. And that is what I'm talking about, calculated risk. Take something that's not massively big, that overwhelms you and fears you, but also put you in a position where you can watch very small sacrifices equate into very small growth. And then those growth then build enthusiasm and excitement. And then those growths build upon each other. Remember, there's no way you're going to have success without change. There's no way you're going to have success without a level of risk. There's no way you're going to have success without a little bit of fear. It's not going to happen. And so, and again, in the world that I live in with the businesses that I run, it's always fun to watch and train people where they get so stuck in this. And it's like, it's just a small step, right? You've heard this great one. It's just, how do you eat an elephant? It's like one bite at a time, right? Something so enormous, you just take one step at a time. And it'll show up. It'll always show up. I promise you this, it will always show up, but you actually have to show up in order to make it work. And the question is, can you and will you show up? That's the only real question for any of us that are watching this is, am I willing to do what I need to do in order to have the result be what I ultimately want? And there's another thing here. It's always going to take a lot more time than you think. Always. I don't think I've really ever had any success in any area of my life that didn't take 2, 3, 4, 5 times longer than I thought. Right? If you guys ever jump on a scale and you're trying to lose weight and you're like, oh yeah, I need to lose 3 or 4 pounds a week or 2 or 3 pounds a week or a pound a week or whatever it might be. And you get on the scale, you're like, ugh, like what happened? No, just stay with it. Just stay with it. Oh, gosh, I only lost 3 pounds. It's been a month. That's 3 pounds. Stay with it. And then one day you'll get on that scale and you're like, man, I'm 16 or 15 pounds down. It took me a little bit longer than I thought, but you still have it off. And so write this one down for yourself too, and that is, it always takes longer than you think. It always takes longer than you think. Number 5, surround yourself with people with big possibilities. Surround yourself with bigger thinkers. Surround yourself with more motivated people. Find successful people, right? Find people who think bigger than you. I can tell you this, if you surround yourself with 3 or 4 people that are doing better than you, and you continue to have relationships with them and talking with them and learning from them, there is almost no way you can't be successful. You're almost successful just by association. So if you have a group of people that love to go out and party and drink and do what it is they do, and they don't have a lot going on in their life, guess what? That's probably going to end up being you. And that's usually what happens for most of the people that I know. They hang out with successful people. They are successful people ultimately. But if you hang out with unsuccessful people, so what am I saying? Get new friends? Yes. Get new friends. I'm not saying you can't have relationships with people that you particularly don't want to be like. But in order for you to have success, you're going to have to hang out with bigger, more successful people and do what they do. You want to become successful? Do what the successful people do. Well, gosh, Bernie, it's kind of hard, right? I mean, you don't understand those people get up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning, and they read or they meditate or they work out, and then they come back and they get ready for work, and they're in their office at 8 o'clock, or they're in their office at 7:30 or 7:15. Great. Then do that. Well, you don't really get it. Like I'm a night owl. I love that one. I hear that one a lot. Hey, you don't understand, Bernie. I mean, I'm just a night owl. I'll never buy into that I used to be a night owl. Yeah, when I worked in a nightclub as a doorman, I had to be at work at 9 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night, and then I got off at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was a night owl, but I was broke. So now I'm a morning person, which means I get up early, but I had to change my thought process and my cycle, right? Successful people typically get up early and start their day. But are you the one that sits there and uses an excuse on why you don't get up early and start your day? Well, I like to stay up late. Well, then great. Is it working for you? Successful people typically don't stay up late. If you're a late person and you're super successful, I'm proud of you. But I can tell you, most successful people don't stay up late during the week. They might stay up late on Saturday or Sunday if they're not working. But most successful people are in bed early, and they wake up early, and they meditate, and they read, and they educate, and they work out. And then next thing you know, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. You're like, wait a minute, I've been up 2-3 hours. It's time to take a shower, go to work. And then they work all day because they understand success isn't convenient. It takes time, and it takes a lot of effort. And guess what? It doesn't happen overnight, but it can definitely be done. You just got to ask yourself how badly you want it. So surround yourself with bigger thinkers. Find out what they do. Ask them, what do you do? Hey, by the way, do you read books? Do you listen to podcasts? What do you read? What do you listen to? Right? I mean, clearly you're much more successful than I am. What do I need to do in order to become more successful? You can't do what you do today if you don't have the success you want. You cannot do the same thing. Most frustrating thing ever. I coach and train people in my industry, and I can tell you this, I hear it all. And poverty is something that most people choose to live in. It's not like we don't share the formulas of success. We can share them. We can beat them down your throat. We can express them to you at a high level. But if you don't do it, then you just don't do it. I love what Tony Robbins says. He says, if you just don't do it, it's just not that important to you. It's not anybody else's fault. I had somebody who recently has left our company and was kind of through rumors and conversations. I had heard that they were, pointing the finger about some of the things that, we were, that they didn't like about our company. But yet this person is broke. And so it's easier to point the finger and say, somebody didn't give me this or somebody didn't do that or whatever. But yet, your life is a train wreck. Do I care if somebody whose life is a train wreck has any opinion towards us trying to improve people's life? It's not like we don't share those things. You can just choose to accept it. And if you don't, then go and live your life miserable and broke and with the people you hang out with and the people that you do. It's not our fault. We're just here trying to help you grow. Somebody's trying to help you grow. People are always out pushing, helping people to be better. Are you paying attention to that? Number 6, heal the inner person. Most of these fears are not adult fears that you've come up with. Most of these are not like things that you've learned as an adult that you then decided to be kind of paralyzed by it. Most of these neuro associations or conditioning beliefs have come from when you were young. And that's always the hardest part, is you've lived with these fears for so long. You've lived in this for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. And then we continue to say that we're this person. And people get feared in life based on what happened when we were a young child and influenced. So we have to heal what happens. You have to answer questions for yourself as where does that come from? I'll never forget a time where this is probably, I would say 8 or 10 years ago, maybe longer, where I had a reflection and just said, where did I come up with that? Like, who in my life do I think, or what happened to me as a person at a young life where this has caused me as an adult to behave this way? Man, what a tough reflection that was. And then asking yourself, like, is that who I am? How is that serving me? How am I served? How can I be better? How can I be a better husband to my wife or a better father to my children? And why am I not that way? And where did that come from in my life? And how can I identify that? And then knowing that that is strong within myself. Like I had to heal, and I'm still healing, but I had to heal the pain of whatever caused this crazy behavior. And you're like, how do I solve this for moving forward in the future? I had to come face to face with the reality that there were things going on that caused insecurities, fear, abandonment. Boy, but you know what? I had to heal that person, and still working on healing that person, because there's no way you can become a better person until you identify what's not working for you as a younger person, or where maybe as an adult you had an experience that then has caused you to behave in a certain way. I have had conversations about this particular person in the past where there was a bad marriage, there was a divorce, and this person was holding on for years and years and years and years and years after a divorce of the pain and anguish of this. And as I was working and talking with this person, we asked, well, where did this come from? Where did this thought process of abandonment? And we dug deep, 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 deep. And, it came out that it was a childhood issue where this, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I can't believe how they treated me, blah, 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 blame, insecurities. Where did that come from, right? We have to get past that, because if we don't get past that, we can't heal that. And not only, if we have all the success in the world and we don't heal that, then we're miserable. Then we're still dealing with the same problems. So we have to work on getting rid of that. Number 7, celebrate progress over perfection. This is a really great one, by the way. I find that a lot of people, they'll plan, and the plan has to be perfect. By the way, there is no perfect plan. There is absolutely 100% no perfect plan, because you could plan it all out. You could write it out. I'm going to do this. 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 This is going to be really great. I'm super excited. And then you start out, and you know what happens? The first day it all unravels. First day it didn't happen the way you want. The first week you lost motivation. You got discouraged. And then by the time you continue to keep pushing forward, you're like, man, this is not how I thought this would turn out. It never does. However, when you write a plan, a perfect plan, right? I did this, right? I wrote a plan, 15 years ago, maybe 17, 18 years ago. It was a long time. And I wrote an I can't fail plan. And I wrote out this full-on detailed process in my business. And this is how this is going to look. And this is how it's going to. By the way, it was myself and my wife in the company at that particular time. Now there's a bunch of people inside of our companies that we own. And I had this massive plan. Man, it never turned out the way I had written it. Now, it did turn out better than I ever thought it could turn out. When I wrote that I can't fail plan, I failed every single day. But why I wrote the I can't fail plan was, if I couldn't fail and fear wasn't an option, and I knew that everything worked in my favor, how would this look in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now? And by the way, it never looked like that. It was so much more difficult to accomplish. I still haven't accomplished the ultimate goal that I had, but the business has turned into businesses that have stemmed from the I can't fail plan, where now there's multiple businesses that have turned out that I did not expect. So here's what I want you to focus on. Celebrate your ability for progress, but understand that there's no such thing as perfection because it doesn't exist. You will fail if you're looking for perfection. And if it stumps you or it stops you and prevents you from moving forward because it didn't work out like you thought it would, then your whole goal of having a better life is gone. So don't get stuck in that trap because perfection doesn't exist. Progress is what you're looking for. Number 8, get comfortable with discomfort. Get comfortable with discomfort. I love this one. You know, my mentor said to me years and years and years ago, he said, you should have a uncomfortable or put yourself in a discomfortable position every single day. That's called growth. So if, you know, there's a lot of people out there right now that'll sit there and go, well, I don't like feeling stressed, or I don't like feeling like I don't have everything under control. We don't have anything under control anyway. Nothing. Owning a business, you never know what could happen, right? Let's just say you're an employee. You're like, oh, I kind of like security. Security is really great. And, you know, I want to go work for a company, and I think that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. There are a lot of people that like comfort, and that's fine, but are you fulfilled? Are you getting the things that you really want? Are you so, like, are we so paralyzed with being comfortable that we're comfortable year in and year out and year in and year out and year in and year out, and we get towards, you know, the latter end of our working years, and we say, man, you know what? I didn't really get the things that I really wanted to have because I was too busy working on my ability to be comfortable, my certainty. And what I've come to understand is that it's the discomfort and it's the uncertainty that causes the growth. If you're a person that wants to grow, you absolutely have to divorce yourself from the idea that there's going to be a lack of discomfort, because you're going to have a whole bunch of discomfort, a whole bunch of it. You embrace the discomfort. Well, Bernie, that scares me. Totally understand. And this video is not for you. But if you want to achieve something really great in your life, and I'm not saying you're not, but somebody's watching this video that says, Bernie, you're absolutely right. I don't really have in my life what I want to have. Well, then get uncomfortable. Well, I don't really like that. Then it's not for you. And I guess what I'm saying here on this particular topic, success isn't for everybody. It's for the few. But you got to be willing to put her to the side, and you got to be able to want it so bad, right? And I've heard this in the past, and I love it. It's like the reason you continue to behave in the manner in which we behave is because we're not uncomfortable enough to change it, and our goal, our passion towards change, is not that important. So is it important enough for you? That's really the question. Number 9, redefine the word success. Success doesn't have to be more money. Success could say, hey, listen, I just want to be a better reader. I just want to lose a few pounds. I just want to have a better relationship with family members or friends. So I think that a lot of people put success in a line where they think, well, this is so enormous. Like, look at this human being. Look at this, what they've accomplished. And look how great this is. And that's fine. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that either. But success is your success. It's not what somebody else's success is. So what is it that's something you'd like to accomplish? And we talked about this earlier, and that is start off small, right? Do small little gains. But don't follow somebody else's success pattern. That is not a way to succeed. Having more money doesn't maybe mean anything to you. Owning a business may not be something that's important to you. But what is important? See, this message is not for you to become more successful in your life on your finances or building a great business. Being successful says what's successful to you and what is something that you want to change. And is fear and certainty in the way of having what you want to have? Because that's something you got to come to grips with. By the way, there's no such thing as certainty. Oh, I want to have certainty. I want to make sure. It doesn't exist. People, I hear it all the time. Yeah, but you don't understand. No, I do understand. You don't understand. What you're chasing is not real. It's false evidence appearing real. It's not. And so we look at the word fear like, oh, well, that's a little fearful for me. Fearful of what? It's just change to better your life. But find out in your life what you want. Don't worry about what somebody else tells you what you should be doing. Only dissect into your soul what you want and make a change in that particular area. And number 10, take ownership of your own future. Take ownership of the path that you want to see. Redefine, rewrite your chapter. Right now you have this life, and the life is headed in this trajectory, whatever that is for you. Does it do this? Is it climbing? Is it sustaining? Is it going down? Is it exciting for you? Are you fulfilled? Here's what's the best part, is it's anything you're willing to accept. It's anything you're willing to say, I'm okay with this. You can and will be anything you choose to be. However, it cannot happen until you make a difference to be different. If you're on this trajectory and it's working for you, I'm proud of you. If you're on this trajectory and it's not working for you, then we have 10 steps here of things that we need to start reflecting on why am I like this and how do I change that behavioral pattern? Why should this be important enough for me to want to completely change and take a risk and be uncomfortable and divorce myself from certainty? What is it that is so strong that's pulling you in an area that says, I really want to do this, and then look at the reason why you haven't actually taken a step for that? Is the step because it's really not that important? Is it really pulling you hard enough? So you're actually the author of your own story. Think about this. And my mentor has said this, and I love the way he says it. And he's like, you're born on this particular day. You died on this particular day, but you were buried 30, 40, 50 years later. What does that mean? Like, did you die somewhere in there where you lost hope? You lost enthusiasm and excitement? You just said, this is the way it's supposed to be. It's not. It's not the way it's supposed to be. It's just you got defeated. You got slapped across the head. Didn't quite work out for you that well. I have a friend of mine, nice guy, was in a business in 2008. His business went under, very successful business, by the way. Lots of money, did very well, and lost everything in the 2008 housing market. Now, here we are now in 2025, and this has still paralyzed this individual because they got slapped in the face, they got knocked down, they got kicked while they were down, and they couldn't recover. And then the attitude that this person has is that, oh man, you don't do that, don't take a risk, don't ever put yourself in that vulnerable position again. And watching this person go from where they were to where they are today is actually pretty sad. And it all has nothing to do with the 08. It has to do with how they looked at what happened in 08. Can you imagine if that person went out and said, you know what, I'm tired of this because this is not who I am. This is just what I experienced for a short time. I just allowed myself to live in this situation for too long. Like the person I was telling you about that was living in this divorced world where she had been divorced for her husband for 13 years, but for 13 years, all she did was talk about the mental and emotional abuse for 13 years. And as I said to him, why are you still bringing that up? Like, that's over. You're acting like that person's still in your life. That person has been gone and you haven't even talked or spoke with that human being for 13 years. And yet every day it's infecting the soul. Let's go back and find out how we address that issue and where we need to get excited about our life again. Guys, I love these topics, and I've spent lots of years and hundreds of books on how the human brain works and how we conditionally think. And so I just want to say this. Your life is way too important to not accept anything but greatness in it. But it does take a small bite at a time to accomplish a big goal. And it's not going to happen based on the plan you write. It's going to happen based on the results and how you react to the things that show up. Because it's always going to show up different. It's always going to, the challenge is going to be much more difficult and different than you wrote out in your plan. But how you maneuver through all of that. I just want to say to everybody, thank you for watching this video and listening. And if you have any great topics that you would like to hear about, please message me. I would love to research any thoughts or ideas on any things that you guys would like to hear on this Success is Not Convenient podcast. I hope everybody has a great day.